A lot to talk about. Yuval Weber joins me here in Washington. He's a research assistant professor at Texas A&M's Bush School of Government and Public Service. Yuval, what do you make of the significance of what the Russians have done today in the heart of Kyiv? You and I have talked about this conflict since day one when it started. What is Vladimir Putin's strategy at this point?
Well, to redirect basically the news cycles towards the issues of what Russia can do to Ukrainian civilians. This diverts basically our attention away from what's happening on the front lines, what's happening on the battlefields, which is that Russia's not doing very well in terms of fighting Ukraine's army. So this has created basically two consequences. One is that Putin is feeling a lot of pressure from basically his nationalist right. So these sorts of strikes which show Ukrainian sufferings, that makes those people very happy. And what it also does is it creates the situation, or ostensibly is trying to create the situation where the West, Ukraine supporters are going to grow tired of supporting Ukraine because they see all the violence and they don't think it's worth their support. But as your reporter was saying, there has been pretty solid support and assistance from the West just today in response to this. So in both of those issues, domestic and international, I'm sure Putin felt a lot better after today, but it didn't really make any difference to how the war is going.
And this massive show of force, do you see it as, I don't know, a show of strength, or is it really an act of desperation considering the battlefield losses?
So certainly, just today, Ukraine continues to make advances on the battlefield. And as much as, I'm sure the citizens of Kyiv don't like their universities and their children's parks being hit, the missile attacks on the cities don't make a difference in terms of the Ukrainian people's resolve. The Ukrainian people wanted their side to win and Russia to lose before today, and that's not going to change because of this, because they can see no matter how much violence Russia uses against civilian targets, they are still going to get support from their external partners, and they're still making advances on the battlefield. And that's the key thing of which people in Ukraine are mostly focusing on.
So Yuval, where is all this headed? We've been doing this conflict has been going on for 8 months now. Is there any indication of how to end this? I mean, is anyone talking about negotiations? Is anyone talking about some kind of peace agreement? It seems like neither the Russians or Ukrainians at this point really want to even deal with one another.
So certainly there were a lot of peace agreements and negotiations available before the war and in the first basically days and weeks of the war, but those are more or less they've been thrown out the window. Because for the Russian side, they just annexed 4 entire provinces of Ukraine in addition to Crimea. So they need to be able to demonstrate that they can take and hold these territories. In fact, Zaporizhia, one of them, the Russians have been bombing civilian targets there too. So ostensibly, these are areas under Russia's control, or legally speaking, that is, which they're attacking. So the Russians need more victory than what they signed up for at the very beginning of this. Ukraine feels, given that they're doing actually fairly well on the battlefield, that the longer it goes on, the greater the chance they have of getting all of their territory back. And in relation to, hitting the bridge connecting Crimea to Russia, the fact that they were able to make some sort of attack on that ostensibly shows that the possibility of regaining Crimea as well is not as far-fetched as it was 8 months ago when this conflict started.
All right, we'll leave it there. Always appreciate your take on this. Yuval Weber, thank you.